And with that, welcome to Jason McLean Questions Everything. Greetings and salutations, fellow questioners. It's another beautiful Wednesday. We're going to question some things. So before we get to, again, we're starting with the new time, 7 p.m. Central Standard, 8 in the East, for the illustrious Rob, who we're going to be bringing up momentarily. Today we're going to ask, is the ocean soup? And I'll explain that in a minute. But before I do, let me bring up the co-host, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and of course, the infamous Donnie Cho, who will eventually get around to making a channel.
One of these days.
It's in the cards.
Somewhere.
Depends what deck Donnie's got.
Robert, would you be so kind as to inform everyone as to the shows that you can find? Again, obviously, we're live streaming on our channel, Jason McLean Questions Everything.
Yes,
as well as Bigfoot Michigan Rob and Texas Front Porch.
Yes.
But could you let everyone know about the Texas Front Porch family of shows, what shows we have, when to find them, that kind of thing?
Yes, as Jason just mentioned, we're streaming on Text, Jason and Rob. And this show, Jason McLean Questions Everything, which is Wednesdays now at 8 in the East. I'll jump ahead with that for the new time slot for Jason. Mm-hmm. But from the beginning of the week, it's Mondays. It is Texas Front Porch, 9 o'clock in the East. Tuesdays, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, 9 o'clock in the East. Jason also does something on Tuesdays at 10 in the East called Mysterious Library on Untold Radio AM. So check out Jason, 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. Back here again with Jason, 8 in the East now. Jason McLean Questions Everything, Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. Thursdays, Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East. I do have to make mention, as you know, I've been kind of out of it. In the state of Michigan, the Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob podcast, going up against all genres.
Yes.
Politics, sports, cryptids, is number 38 in my state. Yes, that's correct. So thank you. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed. Thank you to everybody out in the media land that listens on in. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And of course, Thursday at 9 in the East is the Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal podcast. That's 9 in the East with Brandy and Krista. If you need a little more booze with the woos, a little woos mixed in, the Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal podcast, Friday at 9. Tex, Danielle Diva, Saturday, 3 in the East. Infamous Minds, it's true crime. Infamous Murders, very fascinating. They've dropped 6 or 7 shows, you guys. If you're into true crime, that's the place to be on Saturdays at 3 in the East. But then again, catch the replay. It's for free in the archives. And I do got to mention my friend Jessica Jones, Saturdays on Spaced Out Radio, 10 o'clock in East, Saturday and Sunday. And speaking of Spaced Out Radio, my buddy Dave Scott, Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, tomorrow at 1. Dave, over the weekend, was in the woods of the high mountains of British Columbia. And we're going to go over what he found over last weekend. So that'd be a great show. Thank you so much for joining us. The Super Chat's open across the board, and the Super Thanks is also open if you're watching on replay. Back to you, Jason McLean.
I'm actually excited for tomorrow's show. I want to hear what Dave Scott came back with.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. That's for sure.
Real quick, Jared, the Crazy Indian, says, Jason is a boss. Don't know why I said that. LOL. Hey, everybody. Respect and love for you all. Here's the reason. Because it's the truth, and you're a truth speaker, Crazy. That's what you are. Because that's what we do here. We're truth speakers. And again, being truth speakers, we are the show most likely to be shadow banned. So if you didn't see last week's show, you can catch it over at our channel. And of course, we do have a backup Rumble channel just in case. You know how it goes. So on with the show, as they say. So a year or two ago, there was this fad, right? Because that's how the internet works. And a lot of the younger kids were running around asking, is the ocean soup? And the setup goes like this. if soup is water, salt, vegetables, and protein, then isn't the ocean a soup? And of course, to the older generation, it's like, that is just stupid. Again, if you watched last week's show, if you didn't, you can go hop over. And of course, you can, if you go over to the channel, I have a Will Millennials Be the Ones to Save Us? One of the things we do that Don and I went over is the fact that, hey, a lot of these kids weren't even taught to think because our school system sucks that badly. It just does. So what is actually happening is what's happened is that the internet, these kids are asking logic questions. And this one's a logic question. Asking, what is it that makes soup, and does the ocean qualify for it? Now, we could spend the next half hour debating over whether or not the ocean is soup. I will give you my quick thought on it. No, the ocean is not soup, because soup is not just the ingredients. It's the purpose, right? Soup is something that has been made for consumption by humans. I won't even say it needs to be made by humans. An angel could make soup and you could eat it, right? That doesn't require humans, but doesn't require the deliberate purpose. Is that soup is water, vegetables, some salt, whatever, put together, but for the purpose of consumption. The ocean does not meet that qualification. Does it? Because it's not made for human consumption.
The ocean.
The ocean. Correct. However, the interesting thing here is what it really shows is the importance of definition. Because if you say soup is only water, salt, protein, and a vegetable, and that's it, you have no other, then yeah, you could argue that it's a soup. You could argue cereal. Hold on real quick. Falafel Bay. Is cereal a soup? Well, under that definition, it can't be a soup, can it? Because it's made out of milk. But the simple fact of the matter is, how you define things will determine how you proceed with it. I know Donnie's been thinking about that, because I mean, you've consumed the ocean as soup on many occasions.
I'm deep in thought on Jared Crazy Indian's comment. Chili with beans. We don't ever consider chili a soup, do we?
So here's the thing. Actually, it depends.
Wow,
I mean,
wow.
chili is its own thing. Don't even get this started. Some people do. I'm just saying. Like,
I forgot you're a Texan. It's the food of your people.
Don't get this. Don't get this started. People will be shot. I'm just saying. This is one of those things. But it's the importance of definitions, right? How you catalog things. So the question I have is, how do we apply that to the rest of what we do? How many in the whole Fortean field, and it's not just the Fortean field, you can take this to the rest of your life. How we define things, how we think about things may often be the reason we're not moving forward in some fields.
Yeah, when you think about the ocean as being a soup, and you think about soup, not to be redundant, but I was just thinking about it. Okay, I'm sitting down, I'm having chicken noodle soup. You got your broth, you got your noodles, you got your chicken, you got, a couple cut up vegetables. Okay, it is what it is. But the ocean, yeah, it's made of water, the salt, sodium, whatever else. But we have the life forms. We got fish, sharks, unknown life forms. That is something I probably could not digest versus your traditional vegetables or chicken soup.
Yep. Oh, I've swallowed some seawater and I paid the price for it one time. I was in Cozumel.
Yeah. You ever go to the beach and spend time in the water all day, and you get that weird taste in right beneath where your sinuses would be, like where your nose is, and you're just what is that weird salt taste in my nose? Ugh.
I do, Donnie. Long story short, Atlantic Ocean, Daytona Beach, 19 years old, body surfing, the saltwater blasting into my body. I'm riding the waves. Then I forgot there's something called a bigger wave, and there's also something called gravity. There's also something called the ocean drawing back, pulling back from the shoreline and getting dispensed. I was literally thrust to the bottom. And not only did I taste salt water, but I tasted sand, muck, seaweed, because the force of the ocean, when it went back out, the tide came in, it comes out like everything. And I got caught in this trap, and I went to the bottom and rolled around, and I tasted everything that the ocean, as far as soup goes, has to offer. has to offer less any sea life outside of seaweed, sand, and whatever muck that I ingested. Oh yeah, I thought I was going to drown. Actually, I couldn't breathe. I was underwater, spinning around. Terrible, but I still love the ocean. It's there for a purpose.
Exactly. And not consumption, not human consumption. That is definitely not its purpose.
No.
So real quick then, Jason. Yeah. So what does this exactly have to do with Fortean topics and the paranormal, may I ask?
I knew I kept you around for a reason, and not just because you're amazingly beautiful, Donnie.
Yeah.
I try.
So let me ask this question. Rob, back when Tex was could be on the show because of his work schedule.
Yeah.
We asked the question, what's the difference between a dog man and a werewolf? And that was one of the questions that we asked. It's like, well, people are very quick. It's like, no, a dog man is not a werewolf. Why do we think that? If someone, I have people tell me all the time, I think I saw a Sasquatch, or I think I saw a shape or a skinwalker. I think I saw. The problem is we get these names embedded in a psyche. And the problem is oftentimes each individual person has their own definition as to what makes something a thing, which is fine on its own, except, well, if everyone's using a different definition of a term, then we're not getting anywhere. In fact, oftentimes I would argue most of the conflicts that we have in the Fortean community are just is that everyone's using different terms, or they're using the same word, but they mean different things. And so there is no syncing up with that concept.
You're absolutely right. I mean, if you pose the question to me, what's the difference between a dog man and a werewolf? Well, I would say, to me, nothing, unless you're one of these that will speculate, hey, werewolf is a shapeshifter. Well, how do you know that? Because of Lon Chaney? I mean, yeah, perhaps. I mean, you hear all these stories about different. It's one's perception. I think a werewolf and a dog man are differently than Jason or Donnie. I think a Bigfoot is different than Donnie or Jason. I think that an alien or a UFO is different, right? Hell, I think that vegetable soup is different than Donnie and Jason, right? It doesn't matter. I think I washed my car today. I think they look good. But Jason, you might say, you know what? It looks like crap. So it's always, life is about perception, right?
Right. But if we're going to move forward, we kind of have to start defining some terms here, because I think that's one of the problems is we don't have there's no real standardization of ideas, of concepts. And we need to address how to even think about these things. Because again, the problem with the question of, is the ocean soup, comes down to, is that purpose? Because if you do define it as just salt, water, vegetable, and protein, then yes, the ocean can be defined as soup. The problem is, as we've just discussed, that's going to make a lot of people sick, because it's not what it is. It's not a soup. You could say, well, metaphorically, okay, yeah, metaphorically, it's a soup, because we understand that that's a different level of meaning, a different level of understanding. But once the question for the soup question is purpose. Someone has made the soup for human consumption, regardless of the contents. Because again, you can have soup that doesn't have vegetables in it. You can have soup that doesn't have a protein in it. You could have soup without salt in it if you wanted. So it's not really the ingredients beyond certain aspects of it, but it is also about the purpose. Well, this goes back to, how do we define these encounters that people are having? How do we properly explore it? How do we know when something is physical or is paranormal or is some kind of military experiment, or on and on and on, right? We've talked we talked about on the show previously, sirens versus the banshee. Like, we compare this. Like, if you sort of get past the initial superficial differences between them, but you look at some of the broader themes, they appear to be the same phenomena, just interpreted differently by two different cultures.
My favorite example of this in this community, I mean, like, cryptid, paranormal, UFO community, is the semantics between giants and Nephilim.
Yes.
Right? We talked about this quite a bit before, where, you figure that word as a figure in the Bible versus the idea people have that, giants, those are those things in the Bible that were the result of demons mating with human women. All giants are that, right? But then we were talking about earlier episodes how Nephilim might not even necessarily be physically just big. Maybe they're more beyond that what they are defined as, right?
Right.
The identity of what a Nephilim is could be more than just a big man with red hair and 6 fingers on each hand, right? And then so every time people mention kind of giant in folklore, what do? They immediately associate it with, that is automatically those Nephilim guys in the Bible.
Yeah, and and Donnie, to what you just spoke on, when I think Nephilim, I don't even think red hair giant. Yeah, I heard about the Kandahar giant, which is, who knows what that was. But I always go back to what I've learned from Jason, the fallen angels. And they come to 200, the fallen 200, come down, made it with women, angels of heaven, made it with human females. And then they produce what exactly? Hell, I don't know what that is. I have a vision in my head what I think it looks like, despite the images that we see on YouTube or we see, and despite Jason's awesome teachings, I still don't. I'm like, what is this, right? So
I feel like a lot of people in the paranormal, especially, they get hung up on semantics. First and foremost, like I'm involved in a lot of, not involved, but I look into a lot of different communities, like video game community, wrestling community, different fandom communities, paranormal community. And one thing I notice about paranormal people is they love arguing semantics.
Yes.
Paranormal and religious people, I notice, are the two people who love arguing semantics. And paranormal people, we get hung up on semantics, don't we? Right?
Oh yeah.
When they try to change UFO into UAP, people just lost their minds. They're like, how could they change the letters?
People lost their minds, but I will say this: I'm UFO all the way. UAP, I will. That's just me, and I guess. And now, if you're new to the subject, UAP, right? But UFO to me is, again, like you said, Donnie, semantics.
Yeah.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, semantics. And to me, it don't even matter the region you live in. Is Bigfoot really the abominable snowman in the Antarctica or Alaska? I think not. It's just, that's where we've grown up.
Right. Well, so which is exactly my point. How often do we have people say, well, this must be a Sasquatch over here, and it's like, but how do we even know that? Right. I think we get so caught up in these labels that we're missing the point. We need something new, something that a new way of sort of looking at the entire thing. So we're actually getting caught. So we're not getting caught up in a semantic argument, but we're actually coming to answers. Because oftentimes I think that's half the problem is we're arguing over the name versus saying, well, hold up, what is actually happening? What is this person actually seeing? How? And then start classifying that way. Instead, we're like, no, we want to cram all these into this box. Again, that's one of the conversations we've been having for several years now on this channel, is the question of Bigfoot, right? Is it that Bigfoot's paranormal? Is it that the paranormal people are just forcing things on Bigfoot, or is that everyone's using a name and they're cramming all of these different phenomena into the same box, and that's muddying the waters, right? So this is where the use of, again, where definitions matter, and maybe the problem is we're so hung up on a name that we get caught up having a semantic argument. But we do need to sort of define some terms, because again, if the ocean is just salt, water, protein, and vegetable, then the ocean is soup. So we're hung up on one thing when it should be, was it made for consumption? So the question then with paranormal versus cryptids, it's, well, hold on, maybe we shouldn't be looking for a name. Maybe we should look for something else, some other way of processing this information, so we can come up with something a little more useful.
This harkens a lot back to the episode we all did a couple months ago, I think now, on vampires.
Yes.
Remember, we were talking about how back in medieval times, or in Renaissance medieval times, okay, let's say around there, when people encountered, had a cryptid encounter or a possession, a haunting, anything like that, it all got put in this one blanket term, strigoi, vampire. And eventually, because their language was limited, they didn't have words for these things, right? So they all just put strigoi on everything. So what happens after several generations later, when we eventually move into the modern age, they all become vampires, and that's why vampires have all sorts of abilities, right?
Yep.
It was a limitation of their language. And I fear that, we are limiting ourselves linguistically in the paranormal community. And I think people do get caught up on semantics. And there's a lot of reductive thinking too. So.
No, too, there's so many stories that go down with anything. I don't care what you're talking about. Like we were talking about vampires, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. Some people believe you had to cut off the head. Some believe that you had to stake them through the heart and make sure that it penetrated Mother Earth so they could not get up. And then we've seen the regular Dracula. All you need to do is kill him with the stake, and that was it. Or ward off the spirit of the vampire with garlic around your neck, or the cross. Well, then again, if you don't believe in God, what's the cross going to do for you? So there's so many different avenues you can proceed with any subject. So that's why there's always debate, there's always discussion, in some cases arguments with people, but it's all good collective thoughts. And again, you know what, Jason, the more I think about it, maybe the ocean just is a big vast soup filled with unknowns.
It's the mystery soup.
It's a sea monster soup.
So to your point, right, and this is going back to what Donnie is saying here, when we were sort of exploring the origins of the vampire myth in the story and how we have it today in its origins. That's really Donnie's whole point, right? The reason, Rob, you're just like, why is it that silver bullets can kill a vampire and to these people, but over here you got to do this, and it's because people were using that word strigoi as almost it's like everything started falling into that. And so by the time we're done, it's just everything's in this box. So when it gets to us, it's like, oh, vampire, it's all the same thing. Well, the problem is now you've got vampires that are Superman, that are turning into things, and it's like, whoa. We've put all these myths and legends into this box because they only had the one word, and it feels like we're repeating that exact same process today.
And what I loved about Donnie on this show we did, he mentioned strigoi. Now, me growing up as a little kid, my number one go-to for reading a book or watching on television was vampires. And yes, it started with Bela Lugosi, and then it matured throughout my years as I got older. But I started reading these books. Brian Lumley, I read this book. Now, strigoi I never heard of, and he wrote this great series called it's the Necromancer series, and it was about this guy Charlie Kehoe that was a necromancer. What he did, he read the body, he read dead people. He literally ripped apart their bodies, their bones, and could see into the future or see what their past thoughts were. But as I'm reading through the novel, I'm like, man, this is really cool, and I thought it was a vampire book. But you know what? Then as the story unfolds, yes, it was about the original vampires and how they started going about there. paranormal ways, and now and listen, I knew everything about vampire lore until I started reading that. And then Donnie brings up Strigoi. Well, Donnie, I never heard that word. You're talking to a dude who's into it. So again, there's so much out there to learn, and again, when you think you know it all or know some things, you don't know as much as you thought.
I actually first heard the word Strigoi. The first time I ever heard Strigoi was on that show, The Strain.
Oh yeah.
They mentioned, they called them Strigoi, and I was like, where does that word come from? And then when I was reading about vampires, I saw that word again. So I was like, oh, that's where that word came from on that show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that word, even the origin of that, depending on who you talk to, has its origins in the book of in one of the versions of the Book of Enoch. Is a derivative of what? Yeah, as a derivative from one of the titles given to the sort of like the armies under Satan. Again, I forget which version, because there's 3 major versions of the Book of Enoch. First Enoch is the one everyone sort of talks about. That's the one that was around. That seems to be the one that was around during the time of Jesus. The other 2 popped up much later in different areas, but I forget which version it comes in. But again, it's not the same word, but a lot of people think it's derived from that. From that word.
I got a question for you guys, actually, for both of you, Rob and Jason, because you guys have been with the cryptid community a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not brand new, but I've been here for like a little over a year now. And I remember one of the first things that really surprised me when I was in these chats, like talking, with people talking about Bigfoot and Dogman and stuff. I remember someone said Bigfoot, and then another person, I don't even remember who it was like, they're not Bigfoot, they're Sasquatch. And the person got like annoyed about it. And I was like, whoa, there's supposed to be a difference? Is there like a rule?
Yeah,
is it inappropriate to say Bigfoot?
No, to me it's not, Donnie. You'll get some people now. Again, I was brought up on Bigfoot. Then I found out about Sasquatch really quickly, very quickly. There's some people, Donnie, that Sasquatch is spiritual. It's First Nations. It's indigenous. It's Sasquatch, the spirit, the forest giant, the friend of the forest. Don't call it Bigfoot. Well, those people that have those opinions are like, you know what? For me, I can take it or leave it. I'm not going to disagree or agree with them. I guess, again, we talked about perception. I guess if you think Bigfoot, you think probably more of the flesh and blood. When you hear Sasquatch, you might think more spiritual. But then when I hear Yeti, I think Australia. When I hear, again, Abominable Snowman, hell, I think Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, that's my perception, right? So it's whack with different people, and some people though do take it very seriously. I take it with a grain of salt, and I think they all mean the same.
The grain of salt that is in the ocean because of the soup.
Yeah, right.
Real quick, Tex happened to ask if the real question is the Earth the breadsticks? I think possibly.
Did you know Sasquatch isn't even the actual indigenous word in their language? It's the anglicized version of it.
Yeah, it's an anglicized version.
It's like our Englishized version of their word. That's not even how they say it. It's pronounced Sesket.
Yeah.
That's how they say it, Sesket. And then we made it into Sasquatch. That's actually our word if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, that's how languages work.
Yeah. That's how languages work actually. So,
hey, Derek, really quick. I'm sorry, guys. See, Derek, I don't know what Derek was talking about. Davy Scott would have a connection. Davy Scott will be on my show tomorrow at 1:00, so you can ask him. I don't know what that was, but big old Dave, he's Sasquatch and Bigfoot. He uses both terms.
Glenn mentions that the Earth is actually a flatbread, and if you watched last night's Mysterious Library, that's even funnier. Real quick, only because I never intended for this particular episode to stay on track at all. Wicked Mean says, please don't drink the salt water. It will dehydrate you. Only partially true. Yes, if you are drinking salt water, it will dehydrate you. However, humans can drink a little bit of salt water. In fact, that's actually how sailors used to keep fresh water fresh. was you can add. There's a ratio. I forget what the ratio is off the top of my head, but there's a ratio of salt water that you can add to fresh water and actually preserves it and keeps it fresh. There you go. Yes. And real quick, only because I completely agree. Scott mentions you can kill anything physical if you cut off its head and cut off and burn the head. So that's his go-to. See, I agree, but I throw in a wood chipper. I'm just saying, you decapitate, you throw in a wood, you throw in the wood chipper. I think you solve most of your problems right there. And yes, I do. I have protocols on how to take care of most things. I've actually thought this out. It's like, what if you can't actually, like, what if it's one of those things that puts itself back together? I've got a protocol for everything. I have put way too much thought into this. That's all I'm going to say. It's like, if I need to make certain something stays down, it'll stay down.
What was, and speaking of the wood chipper, what was that movie in the Dakotas where the...
Fargo?
Yeah. Again, I don't want to get off. Yes, very, yeah.
Yep.
I just remember that leg sticking out of the wood chipper. And I'm like, wow.
Did you see Rumble? Okay, yeah, this first hour is just gone. Normally we don't go this far off track until the second hour, but yeah, I really had no intention for it because we're starting earlier today. This is the earlier time. Yeah. We've started instead of 8, we started at 7. So I've kind of figured today was going to be weird. Rumble in the Bronx. Did you ever see that movie? It was like Jackie Chan's first big
English... with Jackie Chan. Yeah.
It's not his first movie, but it was like the first big American debut.
Yeah.
The fact that they have that wood chipper, and of course the guys are they're all Canadian actors and they're speaking French. But that was the first time as a kid seeing some where they're like, this is how you're just gonna get rid of a guy. They just throw him in the wood chipper and the guy brings him back in a trash bag. I can't remember. It's like, you got Tommy. Like, excuse me. Okay, yeah. That feels a little excessive, but okay, I get it.
Yeah, excuse me. I get it.
So I'm just saying.
I gotta look that up now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, I have a plan for how to take care of most things. If they're like, this thing only dies this way. All right, well, we're gonna get real creative with this. That's all I'm saying. Worst case scenario, 60 pounds of concrete and a drive later. I think
all I gotta say is no one ever tested if a vampire or a werewolf or a dogman or a Bigfoot was acid proof. It's never been tested. So
yeah,
how do you know it ain't acid proof? You know.
And I do have, Donnie, I do have to interrupt because a fan of yours, Phil Bay. Sorry, does anyone have a link?
Yeah, I was literally about to throw that up there.
Yeah, you know what,
Donald
Falafel Bay
Falafel.
Yeah, Uncle Robbie, man, I'm on these things. Donnie, can you answer that, please?
Yeah, it's just I guess my handle, Donnie Cho. I don't quite know how. I'm not quite fully there with how channels actually work, so I'm still working on that.
Donnie knows exactly how. Donnie knows how channels.
I think it's called Donnie Cho. I did put some videos up there, but I think I don't know how to turn them public. I'm still working that. I think there's like a button on StreamYard, but I just haven't figured out where the button is.
Donnie, this weekend
Donnie,
you can walk through everything.
Donnie, we gotta get with you.
Yep.
I'm finding that button though. That button's mine. That's my mobile.
I will happily walk you through everything, Donnie.
Just don't have text walk you through finding the button.
No, when the spirit of text falls upon you, you will never find the buttons. You're just randomly just pushing things. Like, it's terrible. Really, it's awful. I did not expect the show to derail quite this fast, but I'm glad that we have this moment together. We're only half an hour.
So it's like the Amazon rainforest, like the salad. Then.
You know what? That's actually not a bad. Okay, so hold on. So the ocean is soup, and the earth is the flatbread. Again, which is made way funnier by last night's show. Then yeah. You know what? Well, it's not. It wouldn't just be the Amazon rainforest. That would be the Amazon rainforest would be the side salad. Yeah. Does that make volcanoes like the salsa dip?
Ooh, yes, very spicy.
Just saying, spicy.
Spicy.
Okay, what does that make humanity then?
Sesame seeds.
Yeah, Don. Yeah, just
I got an answer.
It's an additive that you would think twice about adding, and so maybe 3 spices in.
You know what it is? It's sprinkles. You got soup, salad, bread, you got your meal, and someone just comes in with like ice cream sprinkles and just like throws it all over that, and you're like, this doesn't taste right.
I would go with sesame seeds. I don't think we're sprinkles in this. I think
seeds are okay in soups and salads.
I'm just saying. I mean, or you know what? Hold on. If we're not, because I don't think we're sprinkles. I think sprinkles are sweet. Humans
it just clashes, sweet. Right? That's the idea. Clashes.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, right? I understand, but I'm saying, we're still supposed to be here. And there's still some intentionality. So I'm just saying, I think we'd be like sesame seeds or poppy seeds. I like a good poppy seed bagel.
I do too. I like the everything bagel.
There's a joke I know you just won't even get. Donnie may get it.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Thank you.
No, Donnie gets it.
I actually looked up the word like the Native American words for like Bigfoot and Sasquatch, just to like I looked up a few examples and like what they actually translated out to in their language. Like most of them were just hairy man.
Yeah,
that's what you call them, like hairy dudes. Oh, there's us, and over there, those are the hairy dudes. I'm like, very creative, guys.
Well, so that's the thing, though. But so here's the thing, right? Because you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But this is a conversation I've had with Dean a couple times. I think I even had it with. We need to get Josh Kuchin on. We need to get him on the show. So yeah, hairy. So here's the thing: hairy man mythology in folklore is everywhere on the planet, which does beg a lot of questions, right? However, just like we talked about the Thunderbird, where it's like we are overlaying our own thoughts about Thunderbird on top of First Nations lore. I tend to think that may be what's happening with. We say, oh, well, this must be Sasquatch in this in this tribe's tongue, and this we're laying our thoughts about the entire phenomena on their beliefs, because lots of tribes have lots of different ideas on these things, and the problem is we're taking those ideas, we're putting them in the box. Donna, you yourself talked about how the tulpa concept that we have in the Fortean, in the modern Western Fortean world, is radically different from the way a tulpa is presented in its original Buddhist context. Essentially, we took a part of the concept of the idea and the name, and we remade it like it's a Philip K. Dick novel.
Yeah,
that is really funny to those people who read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and then saw Blade Runner. But if you didn't read it, then the joke is just not as funny.
I think it's hilarious.
Well, but you're high right now because they got you on some really good pain meds.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
I can't deny that.
I'm just saying lots of things are funny when you're on pain medication.
You ever hear about how the name Bigfoot originated? You ever hear that story?
Yeah, of course. Back in 1947, I believe.
57, I think.
Trapper.
It was like I thought it was like a logging company.
It was
logging company, correct.
Yeah, and it was because they found Bigfoot, or tracks of these big feet that were tracks around the equipment. Which again, the guy claims that he actually put them there as a way of scaring people off, because it was very clear that he was using stompers. And that's, again, people are like, well, see, the whole Bigfoot myth comes from this guy. It's like, but here's the problem. We know which things are made by stompers. And the problem is, just because he came up with, he probably heard this idea, because people have been talking about these things for a long time. But we can tell when someone's using a stomper versus an organic foot that has that sagittal, or not the sagittal, that's the head, that has the mid-tarsal break in it. Like, we can see these things. So, but yeah, that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, and that's where it comes from. And the sad thing, not to elaborate on that story, Donnie, was because I just came across that a couple of days ago doing some research on something, and yes, it came out, and that actually made the papers, Don. It was front print ad. It was a front page of a newspaper, and then years later, or whenever, Jason, I'm not sure how long it was. Then the guy admitted that, yeah, he made it all up. So right from the get go, Sasquatch or Bigfoot got a bad rap because now it was a hoax, right? So now, even from the onset of Sasquatch and the research, yeah, well, it was made up long ago, so it's thriving now because the term was coined and it's folklore. Everybody hears about it. So right out of the onset, it was doomed.
Yeah. Again, by definitions, right?
Because we talk about definitions, perceptions, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Because we took that name Bigfoot, and now once that becomes contaminated, everyone throws the baby out with the bathwater. That's what it is, and that's sort of this issue. And again, why definitions matter, and why we need to kind of rethink maybe how we even address a lot of this. Again, going back to the idea of we're taking ideas out of First Nations mythology and lore that oftentimes, let's be honest, a lot of people don't really even understand what it is that the indigenous people were saying, right? We just, hey, we like these ideas, we'll just extract them and we'll lay our thoughts over them, which we see all the time.
And you know what's a shame, and I'll admit to this, I'll readily admit to this. Talking about the First Nations, the indigenous. Until I got involved with the study of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, I never really gave too much thought about our American Indians and such, right? Until I got involved with this, and I do research on their history, their background, which I'm proud I've done it now, because that's really where it started from, if you think about it, right? Way back 1800s, all these stories we've heard about the indigenous bartering with the hairy man. And we're thinking, well, what is that? And then stories come out and say it's alleged Bigfoot. So history is a big part of this. I do some videos on the history of Bigfoot, and a lot of it, you guys, stems from First Nations people, and it comes, and then the Americans are the ones that kind of glamorized it, right? Kind of made it this big, I don't know, superlative adjective to thrust out into the community, into the business world. I would say business world, but into mainstream. Before mainstream was a thing.
Well, and sadly, mainstream is always a thing. It's just a thing that's often manipulated. But that's real quick. Right. Be kind, because we get this a lot. This show is currently broadcasting on 3 different channels: Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot Michigan Rob's channel, and of course ours. Jason McLean Questions Everything has its own channel, and there are things that are unique just to that channel as well. We're live every Wednesday, but we do pre-recorded shows that will go up on Saturdays at 4:00. So definitely go like, subscribe, hit that bell over there as well, because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about that may take several pieces. Donnie and I are working on a thing for the Bronze Age collapse that y'all are really going to find interesting.
It's going to be fun. We're excited for it.
And so it's one of those things where, hey, we're going to have to take a couple episodes to talk about it, and we'll even talk about it here, so you don't want to miss anything. So just a quick thing. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those conversations that makes people uncomfortable, where they're like, oh no, this is what it is. Hold on. Sloweth thine roll there. Oftentimes we take names and again, going back to the whole idea of this definition, out of context from other cultures like the Tulpa or Sasquatch or any of these other things, and we lay our own ideas on them. But then we point back to these other ancient ideas and say, no, see, this idea has been around forever. It's like, no, it hasn't. You are usurping that term. And again, it's like Thunderbirds. Like, oh, is Thunderbird a pterosaur, or is it a Teratorn? I'm like, whoa, stop. Go back. Thunderbirds are they're storm gods. You hear Thunderbird, and you think, well, they must have seen something, right? There's this. I'll even say it. It's not just racist because it really is against everyone. The ancient Greeks, the ancient Europeans, the ancient everybody, right? It is more the hubris of the modern age. It's like, well, look, we've got phones and cars and we've gone to space. I don't want to get in that conversation, but it's like we've got satellite phones. Clearly, we are superior in all of our ways. And these ancient peoples, they couldn't have known what's happening. So they must have seen a giant bird and said that must be a god. And that's where the Thunderbird comes from. Whoa, slow your roll there. Nah, that's not necessarily what happened. You're making that assumption. You're thinking they must have seen the pterosaurs, and then that must then therefore be the Thunderbird. Or they saw a pterotorn, and that must be the Thunderbird. What if they have nothing to do with each other?
Yeah.
What if the Thunderbird was, again, it is a storm god. In most plains tribes, not all of them, but it's essentially a sky god, but more specifically a storm god. Okay.
The ones that I always thought were interesting were when people would talk about like shapeshifters, right?
Yep.
Things that would change shape. It appears as a creature here, and then later they see it and it appears as like something else. And I'm like, yo, did you see it transform? You didn't see it transform. Then how do you know it's the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You didn't get that American Werewolf in London scene with that cool morphing scene. You didn't see that? Then how do you know it's the same thing?
Yeah.
That's the one that was always, I don't know. Do you guys ever ask that when you hear about like shapeshifters? It's like, oh.
Oh, well, okay. So that's yeah. I mean, but here's the other thing. How do we, going back to the question, just because, you said you didn't see them shapeshift, so you don't know that they are. But if we can't find these things, maybe it's because they are shapeshifters. Yeah, and that's the other issue.
Like it goes back to the whole dogman versus werewolf thing. When people are like, it's not a werewolf, it's a dogman. So I'm like, what's the difference? They're like, werewolves turn back into people. And I'm like, are you with the dogman 24/7? Are you following it all day? Do you know what it does when it's, in its off time? Maybe it turns back into a dude and has a job, like has a regular job and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really great, because
it's a great
maybe
point.
The reason we don't find the remains of these things is because they're people that have changed. Yeah. They've shapeshift. They spend some time doing that, and they come back, and that's why we're not finding remains.
Yeah.
Like that is a great question that no one really takes seriously, but you need to. There needs to be something, right? There does need to. Again, this goes back to the importance of definition. We keep saying, "Oh, well, this must be a shapeshifter." Why? What is it that makes it a shapeshifter? And what makes it not?
Thank you, Northern.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, again, Northern California Cubs fan, or Cubs fan. Thank you.
I know, Jason, Northern California Cubs fan. Yes, I love that name, but so perplexing. Thanks, Northern.
It's hard to say from time to time, but thank you. We appreciate that. It means a great deal to us. So, real quick, actually, Titan's got a great question here. He says, would y'all agree if one has an experience with a Bigfoot to start looking for similar experiences in which to group together? Well, yes, completely agree. That is what we should do. And I think beyond that, though, there's also an extra step of we need, again, even the question of, well, was it a Bigfoot? The problem is people say, oh, I saw a Bigfoot. Do you know that you saw a Bigfoot? Like that, we get caught up in, again, it goes back to, we get caught up in the names. We start having semantic arguments instead of saying, please describe what you saw, describe your experience, and then we work backward from that. We don't really do that. In fact, I would argue if you really go through a lot of sightings for Bigfoot, the problem is people just use that word. But then you look at the actual experience, like, maybe this isn't what you experienced. But because that's the name that they have, the problem, then that's the word that they use, the researchers said, okay, that must be what it is.
Yeah.
Or because, even worse, they were Bigfoot researchers, they just said, well, that's what's out here, so that's what it is. So, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot here, but we've come to the end of the first hour, so we will definitely hop off, and we're gonna take a 5-minute break. So smoke them if you got them, and we'll come back.
We will.
And like I said, since we've already completely derailed, who knows? Maybe we will talk about breadsticks for the rest of the time. Or hold hands, sing "Kumbaya."
Kumbaya, my friends.
Kumbaya. You never know. You never know. So we will catch y'all in 5 minutes.
All right.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Welcome back. It's now the second hour, where normally things get off the rails, though we did that a little earlier this episode. But before I bring Rob and Donnie back, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watching, whether you're watching live or on replay. We love y'all just as much. Y'all are the best audience on the internet, hands down. Love all y'all. On that note, we got the Bigfoot Michigan Robert.
Yes, you do.
And of course the Donald the Cho.
Yes. Donnie the Cho show coming. Donnie the Cho show coming to a YouTube channel close by you shortly.
Eventually.
Thank you Thank the Northern Cubs. Love your brother for the super chat.
Yep.
Thanks to each and every single one of you for joining us. We appreciate all of you. Mondays is Texas Front Porch at 9 o'clock in the East. Tuesdays, Van Buren Variety, 8 in the East. Beyond BMR, 9 in the East. Jason does something. It's at 10 in the East. It's called Mysterious Library on Untold Radio AM, which I'll be a part of that at 11, I think, end of this week. I'll be with Dr. Dean. That'll be a cool show. We're talking about some weird stuff. Thursdays is, and of course, Wednesdays, brunch with Wednesdays is Jason McLean Questions Everything. New time, 8 o'clock in the East. Check me, Donnie, Jason. Wednesday, 8 in the East, 7 Central. Thursday's brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East. Tomorrow, I got Dave Scott on talking about his Sasquatch episode that he had over the weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Later on that evening is the Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal Podcast. 9 o'clock in the East. If you need some woos with the booze, you can get them on Friday. 9 in the East. Join Brandy. Join Krista. Fabulous show. Another fabulous show. Tex. Danielle Diva. Infamous Minds. True Crime. If you're into infamous murders, unsolved murders, or some solved murders, doesn't matter. Whatever your flavor. They're doing part 3 of the Smiley Murders case. I definitely recommend go back and watch parts 1 and 2 before part 3 this Saturday. Tex does a fantastic job. So does Danielle. Thank you, Tex, for that. Saturday nights, our great friend Jessica Jones. You can catch her also on Space Cell Radio. 10 of these Saturday and Sunday. Thanks. Subscribe to all our channels across the board. We love and appreciate all you do for us as we try to do for you. With that, back to Mr. McLean.
Thank you. Real quick, before we get too far, let's remind everyone that the live show is broadcast on 3 different channels: Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot Michigan Rob's channel, and our new channel, Jason McLean Questions Everything. Links are all in the doobly-doo below. So, and you do want to sign up for Questions Everything if you like this show, because we do standalone, usually shorter episodes, although not by too much. That are pre-recorded. They go live on Saturdays at 4, right after texting them. So definitely go over, like, follow, subscribe, and share that out.
And with that, thank you for Outlaw Angling for that super sticker. Sorry, Jason.
Speaking of Jason, thank you.
Yeah, and Tex, Jason brings up a good point, because all of our channels, yes, we all live stream together. We stream together, but we all have independent shows. Jason does. Tex does. BMR does. I do my encounter stories. So we all have things outside of live shows. And that's just a thing that I think we have to get out there, Jason, a little more, because we just don't do live shows. We do videos, presentations, stories. So, yes. So subscribe to all the channels: Texas Front Porch, Jason McLean Questions Everything, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, yes, the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. I would say Donnie Show, but hey, I can't say that until it goes forward.
Until you actually do it, Donnie.
All right.
So Donnie's got to do it, because everyone loves Donnie Show. I want some thumbs up for Donnie Show, the Donnie Show. I don't know what he's going to name it. I love Donnie Show. I'm glad he's a member. Thanks, Donnie, for joining us.
Thank you for those kind words, my friend Rob.
And again, thank you, Outlaw. We appreciate that.
We certainly do.
Yes. Everyone, put a quick thumbs up in the thing to let Donnie know that we all want him to say stupid things online on his own channel as well.
There will
That
be.
is what you're going to end up calling it.
There will be foul language, though. So if you have sensitive ears, please do not come.
We expect nothing from the Donnie Show late nights, I'm sure, starting at 11.
Oh, yeah. Starting at 11 in the East. Yep. So, and again, the time for the show has changed. It's moved from a start time of 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to 7 p.m. because Donnie and Bigfoot Michigan Rob both need their beauty sleep.
This is true.
Well, good old BMR works around the clock, Jason. Shows in nighttime, daytime, in between time. And I'm nursing a bum knee.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I'm feeling better than I thought I would. I thought I only could give you an hour, but I'm going full board tonight.
Yep. Real quick. So, Donnie, let's see. That's a thumbs up for you. Also a thumbs up for you. Also a thumbs up for you. Thumbs up for you. Val says do it. Titan says do it, but in a Darth Sidious voice. Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. We just want him to start the channel.
AGNA.
There we go.
They have a cool show.
Be kind. We're gonna call that one too. Hold on. Glenn loves foul language.
Glenn always likes foul.
Yeah, there will be naughty words.
Mm-hmm. You gotta be effing kidding me, Donnie.
Hey, I might even.
That's why I want to come. I want to come on the show so I could just throw out foul language.
Yeah.
The Simpsons. We can swear like kings. Hell, them ass kings.
Yes, wink at me.
I keep it PG on this show.
Yeah.
We're a family show. I'm part of a family show, guys.
Yes. And Donnie's show will be after midnight. Just saying.
Donnie.
Hold on. Stuart has a great question here. Hold on. Where'd it go? I just saw it too. The chat. I just had it here. Where'd it go? It disappeared. See, this is what happens with the chat.
I mean, I could technically cuss all
here
I
it is
want right now.
Stuart says, subject, por favor. Here's the problem, Stuart. Whatever subject we started this show off with died about 30 minutes in, and now I have no idea. I've been here the whole time. I have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
We're talking about soup, and we're talking about the ocean, and we're talking about cryptids and people getting caught up onto semantics.
Don't try and actually rebuild this show. It's gone off the rails. The monkeys have fled the crash. Yeah. This is a zoo train that has derailed, and the monkeys are just out.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Just saying.
The monkeys are definitely out of the barrel.
Yes.
You ever play that game? Is the monkeys in the barrel?
I know what you speak of. I've never played it myself.
Yeah, where they all link together. You pull them out of a barrel crate, and you can collect them, and you can make all sorts of crazy designs.
It was actually very young. It's been a long time.
Yeah, well, I saw it on a website because I was going back. I was looking up games from the 1960s, 70s, and Monkeys in the Barrel, indeed, was one of them.
Okay, hold on. Why were you looking up games like board games and toys from the 60s?
Oh, well, I was looking to buy them on eBay and resell them at a profit.
Oh, there you go. Interesting.
Because this is garage sale season in my neck of the woods. So I usually, believe it or not, I'm always looking to make a dime, and I collect certain things that people just throw out. You know, a person that I know picked up a piece. It was 3 coffee cups from the 1958 era. It was after the war, but they were manufactured, and they were in pristine condition. And he had them for several years. I said, "Man, you got to look that up on eBay." Well, he broke one of the glasses, one of the mugs.
Oh no!
So we find out, we got the dates. I showed him how to do it. He looked it up. They were worth $972 if all three were together. So it left him a paltry $79 because he was missing the third. So you never know what types of gems that you can find at garage sales.
That's true.
Do you guys ever get into those like antique shows on like History Channel, or those what are those? Those pawn shows?
Oh, like the pawn shop shows? Yeah.
Yes,
Not in a while.
Where they have like hidden gems. It's like some random thing that's worth like a.
Well, I got started with the antiques back when I got married. I'm not getting into this. I think Jason, you know, Donnie, you've heard. I'm sure a lot of our audience has heard. I started collecting antiques when I was married, back when I was in my 20s. And that's the first experiences that I had with the paranormal, because a lot of the stuff that I got, that I had bought, was haunted. And I had hauntings in my house. So I had to have my house cleansed. It's a long story, so I'm not going to get into it. It's been told before.
We have nothing but time, Robert.
So were you able to identify like which particular item it was that was haunted?
Well, it was the entire. Well, okay. Jason just gave me the in. So my wife and I set up a room, a foyer, and we had about 4 or 5 curio cabinets. And we started collecting antiques from all over Michigan, Wisconsin, wherever we travel, Florida. We travel a lot when we were younger together. But there are always these goofy looking things, like stagecoaches, weird looking angels, figurines, cottages, whatever. So, and we had gotten so many in this room, but they were very cool looking. About 6 months into this collection, I started seeing shadows in our great room, we called it. But it was weird because the room was shadowed out, but the shadow superseded the shadow, which was very creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, wow. So this went on for some time. And then I finally had my wife at the time, her name was Rachel. I said, you know, I got to tell you something. I don't know about you, but I've been seeing some stuff. I'm going to the doctor. I don't know what's going on with me. And she goes, are you seeing dark images in the great room that come out of the darkness? I'm like, well, yes, I am. Oh my God, Rob, I've been experiencing that for several months. So you have to remember, we weren't into the paranormal, didn't know about calling, you know, investigators. We got a hold of somebody, how she got a hold of this person. They came into the house and they started at the east end of the house. I had a pretty big size house then. And they walked and everything was fine until they got to the foyer where the curio cabinets were. And all of a sudden, this woman, it was a young lady, well, older than us, but still young, because I was in my 20s. She's like 30s. She got really cold, and she said, this is negative energy coming from this room. And then she went on and asked us where we got all of these collections from. And we said, all over Michigan, various states. Then she says stuff like, did you cleanse them? I said, well, I mean, I'm 23 years old, 24. I'm not. No, they looked cool. We bought them. So she says that was a source. And then she went to the rest of the house and that was a source of our negative energy and these ghosts and this darkness we were seeing, dark shadows. So she spooked us out. She did some ritual. I took everything out of the curio cabinets. I put them in our garage. So sure enough, you guys, about 4 months after I did this, positive energy, no more dark shadows. Next spring, I'm in my garage and I'm cleaning out the garage. And I put all of these artifacts and these remnants and these things that we'd purchased, I put them in the corner of the garage. I opened the garage one spring day and you can really see, and it's kind of shadows in there. It's kind of dark, but you can see in. The sun was rising in the back of the garage. And so I'm in there cleaning it out. And about a half hour into this, you guys, I see those same shadows on the back wall of my garage where I placed them from the house. And I'm like, there's just no way. There is no way. Call out Rachel. Get your ass out here, honey. I got something to show you. She comes out. After about, you just gotta hang out with me. 10, 12 minutes goes by. She goes, I'm going back in. You've been drinking? I go, no. Just hang on. Please hang on.
First time for everything, right?
First time for everything. Jeez. So after she made that snide remark, the shadow appears. Seen it. We both saw it together. She freaks out. Again, I freak out. I had a pickup truck. I took all the stuff, Jason, Donnie, and everyone listening. I put it in the back of my pickup truck, and I took it to a dump, and I disposed of everything in the dump. And it kind of went away. But now, you guys, since I've been into this for so long now, I'm like, man, did I do the right thing? Now, probably this is going to get all ground up, and somebody else is probably going to get some weird experience. But yeah, that was my first actual really that I can document paranormal story or activity.
I honestly hadn't heard that one.
Never heard of it.
I thought you did.
I never heard that
I hadn't.
Oh,
okay. I've said it several times.
Okay, quick question, Rob. When you saw these shadows, what were they doing? Were you able to make out like any kind of movement or
they
action?
Okay, I could tell you exactly, because this great room, which we had is back when you remember those big screen TVs came out, but they're like 14 inches wide, thick, not stream.
Oh yeah.
It was on a wall, and then I had dark paneling on the back, and this room didn't really have a sufficient lighting. It operated on lamps. So if the lamps were off, it was like dark in the room until you turn on the lamps. So I just remember walking in there, strumming around, getting ready to turn on the television. But I seen on the back wall on either side of the television, in the darkness, mind you, something darker kind of come out, and they kind of moved, and one glanced across the television, and they went from right to left, left to right, and then they disappeared in the corners of the great room. And this I'd seen probably 5 or 6 times before I finally told my wife, hey, I got to tell you something. And she says, Rob, every time I go in this room, especially when you're at work, she noticed the same thing, but she didn't want to tell me. Kind of like I didn't want to tell her until I just was the first one to break the ice and say, look, there's something weird going on. So that's when she started looking up whatever. Then I told her, get on the phone, call some people. And again, who she called back then. This was back when I was in my early 20s. Person came over, did inspection. Every room was cool, except for they got to the curio cabinet room where all these artifacts we purchased. Said, hey, where'd you get these? And she said, you picked up. She said a traveler, I guess. Now I know what that term is today, but back then, like a traveler, like drinking a beer in a car when you're going somewhere. I don't know. Again, back then when you couldn't do that, right? So,
right. Yeah, exactly. Real quick, Titan mentions that you probably got the curio cabinet from the Amityville house. Now, real quick, you said this was when you were in your 20s. Is this like in the mid 80s and she had to flip through a...
there's no internet. Yeah, right. She's looking up. She started calling her friends at work and got a hold of a person. I guess it was Jason. I don't want to say the word psychic medium. I don't want to say ghost investigator. Yeah. It was just a person into the strange, right? Oh yeah, this is definitely in the 80s. Yeah. So actually, it was early. It was actually the early 90s because I didn't get married until. I graduated high school in 85.
See, this is what I love about you being on pain medications. I just called you old and you glossed right over it.
Yeah, well, F you. If you want swear words on the show, F you. That's the first.
If we were on Donnie's show, if Donnie's had a channel, we could swear there. You could swear at me on that one.
Yeah.
Real quick.
I'd never swear at you. But yeah. So
Val says that her husband collects old pop and beer bottles. So honestly, as a kid, I didn't know that this was a thing. I remember the first time I went to like an antique mall with my mom, and they had like beer cans, like old beer cans or like novelty beer cans from like the show MASH. I guess MASH had like, they put it like a novelty beer or something. They all had them. I didn't even realize those were things as a kid until I went to one of those things. But a lot of people, that's a thing. Michael DePaul tells an interesting story. He said his friend knocked over a nightstand trying to hit the alarm clock, and the drawer flew open and broke up. There were 20 silver dollars were waxed into a false bottom of the drawer.
Oh wow.
You hear those stories from time to time where you get some antique furniture, you move into to an older house and someone's doing some renovation, all of a sudden, oh, here's money that someone's stuck in there 50 years ago or in the 70s or what. Actually, 70s is 50 years ago now. Dang it. Stuff like that. So yeah, I mean those stories are interesting.
Yeah,
I'd like them to happen to me every once in a while, is all I'm saying.
Well, I tell you what, man, being a kid back then, I was really scared, and I was so upset though because I'll admit, I really loved those antiques. It was cool because we had like 5 curio cabinets. We set up different themes. Every curio cabinet was a theme, right? And it was just really cool. And we collected over like 3 to 4 years. But the strange thing is, it didn't start happening until 4 years into it. So I'm thinking we picked up something that was probably possessed or whatever you want to call the term.
Yeah, someone's got something on something. Yeah, I get you. A little something. I always do like Donnie's when he has to turn off his camera and he's we get to see his dog.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's Donnie's dog.
It is Donnie's dog.
Oh, I never seen it live on
TV.
Yeah,
well, normally he just hangs around in the background, like he'll move back and forth. I'm just saying it's a cute dog. So anyway, real quick, and I wish we can. I'll wait for Donnie for that one. Wendy says, "Hey Rob, suggested text to do the bow hunter murders that were fed to pigs back a while ago. I am so horrified and fascinated by the story. See, I don't do true crime at all, at all. I have so you tell me that I'm like, nope.
Wendy, I will definitely make mention.
Yeah, he will pass that along.
Hey guys, sorry.
No, you're fine. Now we were just talking about how much we like the picture of your dog.
Yeah.
Well, of course my dog is supposed to be. Whose dog is cute? Who's cuter than your dog? Jason, are you cuter than your dog?
No, my dog is adorable.
Rob,
I am sexier, but no, not cuter.
No, right now, currently I do not. But I've had many dogs, yes.
Question from Titan. What do y'all think of the orcas sinking 3 sailboats off the coast of Portugal? They say the matriarch is teaching the pod to do it. First I'm hearing about it, to be honest, but we can, we'll look into it. That sounds like at least one of the shorter pre-recorded shows that we can discuss.
Oh, for everybody who hasn't seen, Donnie did a great job interviewing Jason on a pre-record. The pterosaur one. Go check out that. That was pretty cool.
That is Jason's personal account.
Yes,
his eyewitness experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a pretty intense story, guys. I wouldn't miss it. I mean, I was legitimately like, "Whoa, you were how close to this thing? What?" Yeah, I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, it's definitely worth listening. Now, here's the thing: because my channel is so new, I can't add links to external things. So I'm gonna try and get that fixed over this weekend. Because I was going to put links to the book and to the episode of that that had that Ken and Lyle did that had me in it. This was the first time I actually I told my story out loud to sort of on camera, but really to them as well. So yeah, I can't share the links yet, but once I get the channel set up so it can share links, I will add those back to it. So anyway, awesome. That's it. That's all I got.
Man, could you imagine demonically possessed killer whale? That would be terrifying.
Well, as long as you're on land, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I get it though. You're right. Like it's a terrifying idea, but I think it's probably just because let's be honest, somebody probably cheesed them off.
Yeah.
And they're smart enough to hold a grudge, and they should. Just saying. And plus, orcas are jerks to begin with. If you really look at how they behave, there's some real jerks.
That is true. That is very.
They're not
true.
even whales; they're dolphins. Like they're even running around with like, hey, I'm a killer whale. No, you're a dolphin. Shut up. Just saying. That's how bad. That's how much of how much jerks they are. Like again. I don't even want to get into some of the things that they'll do, but they are jerks. And now they're running around and they're stealing people's names. I'm a whale.
Man, that's
So, Jason, Donnie, I was looking up something.
All right.
It was kind of like because of today's show, so I was just researching some stuff. Did you ever hear of the Book of the Damned? I'm thinking this is something we should all look into for a future episode. The Book of the Damned.
Well, there's actually a couple of them.
Well, this one is particularly by Charles Bradbury. I started reading some of this online. I think that you guys would kind of be interested. It was under Fortean Mysteries, by the way.
Okay.
Real
quick. Because I want to look in. Because here's the thing, I want to look into that. Right.
Well, why you might like that is because a monastery librarian, a friar for the monastery, found the book, read it, and he burnt it on site. So that's what I found interesting by a friar. So this was back 100 years ago, probably. So I thought it had that religious thing going on, Jason. So I thought maybe something you'd like to look into.
Yeah, no, because like here's the thing, I've heard of several books of the damned, so I'll look into that because that's really interesting. Okay. Hold on, real two things. Yes, I have. For those who are listening on KPNL or Odyssey, that Titan asked if I'd shared my account with Ken Gerhardt. Yes, and if you watch the show or the episode, you'll hear how that story goes out as well. Real quick, Be Kind says orcas are not jerks; they're intelligent pack hunters. Here's the thing: being an intelligent pack hunter also does not mean that you are not jerks. Because, all right, I'm gonna tell the story. This is where we get sometimes. They have been known to separate and kill baby whales and just gnaw on the jaw, and that's it. They will kill infant whales for fun. Like, again, look, nature's nature. You kill and you got to eat. I get it, right? Hey, life's life, right? They will kill for fun. So yeah, no, they are intelligent pack hunters. I completely agree. They are also jerks. Just saying.
You know, I have to make a quick mention because I just got a very interesting text on my phone, Jason. I have to tell us of all of our subscribers, and I just got this. This is why I'm calling attention to this. Everybody, I just got an alert on my phone. It says, "I'm for my channel, BMR. You are now live." On Jason McLean questions everything. Because I was wondering why, man. There's like 10 people. Which I don't care. But the thing is, the alert bells need to be turned on all. You guys, we say this probably once a month about the alert bell. And even subscriptions. Because I was talking to a guy last week on my show. YouTube will unsubscribe you. They will turn off your alert bell. So make sure to do your weekly maintenance to subscribe to all the channels. Because, you know, it's so frustrating when you get an alert bell notification now and the show's just about over and you see that you lost 4 subscribers simply because YouTube unsubscribed them. So everyone be cognizant of that because we all work hard every day to keep our channels running. And when YouTube pulls out these things, we got to combat that by doing your daily maintenance, your weekly maintenance. And I just had to bring that up because it is a pet peeve of mine. Sorry about that, Jason, but everyone needs to know.
No, completely agree. Yeah, because guys, that is one of those things. Like it will just YouTube is the worst on that. So there you go. And remember, we are the show most likely to be shadow banned. So
yeah,
just always go back and hop on the channel every once in a while, real quick. Shark livers too. So I know people are saying, "Oh no, they're just playing with." No. They will murder the infants of it and not even eat it. Just again, they're jerks. But they'll also kill sharks just to eat the liver. Here's my thing: I'm okay with that because they got to get swole, right? They're like the liver king. You got to get swole.
They need them nutrients,
They need the nutrients, man. And of course, Radio Vault asks if cottonmouths are jerks. Yes, they are. Straight up, I'm a Texan. I will tell you, a cottonmouth is a straight up jerk. Stupid cottonmouths. Real quick though, I did say, because Donnie was saying, demon possessed orcas would be a problem. Like, well, no, it's fine as long as they're out there and you're on land. I mean, there's no real issue. But Glenn Dennison did point out, until we get orcanados. Yeah, that would be a problem. Yeah, the orcanado would definitely be an issue in that case. There you go. Oh, Amy does point out that they do flip seals around as a game. I don't know that they do it as a game, although I have heard of that. I really have. I do tend to think that that's just how they're killing the seal. But yes, I have seen that. I've heard people talk about that. So there you go. I'm just saying. Orcas are jerks.
Yes, indeed.
So anyway, yeah, Book of the Damned. We'll do a show on it.
Yeah, no, I thought down the road. I thought it was interesting.
So that monk really just read it and he just burned it right after reading it?
Well, again, I don't know if it was right after, but it was not. He didn't wait around for a month. I was reading through this. There's a big, long piece. I started skimming it. Then, this friar read it, was appalled, and literally burnt it in the monastery. So I thought that to do something like that, even back 100 years ago, I don't think you were allowed to do that. I don't think that's a good look.
They're probably like, look, that's not our job, and it's to maintain. It's like, no, this one's better off being.
I would look it up. But it's by Charles Bradbury, so I know there's quite a few of them out there. So
okay, hold on. So after we do our Bigfoot versus Dogman film, we need to make Orcanado.
Orcanado.
We killed the topic like in the first half hour of the show.
Oh yeah, we power bombed that thing into oblivion.
There's no more.
Started talking about breadsticks and salads and sprinkles and Bigfoot and Dogman.
And we did start an hour earlier. Our new time for Jason McLean Questions Everything is Wednesdays at 8 East, if you live where I live, or 7 Central. We used to be at 9. So yes, 8 o'clock, everybody in the East, 7 in the Central.
Oh, going back to what we were talking about with like the food references, right? Like the ocean being soup, the earth being bread, Amazon rainforest being the salad.
Volcanoes being salsa.
You know what I think the demonic world is in that I guess analogy?
Okay.
They're the pineapple pizza on the next table.
Okay, hold on.
That's what the demonic world is. That Hawaiian pizza.
No, Hawaiian pizza is a great. Stop with your insanity. Stop with your insanity. Pineapple pizza is ham or Canadian bacon, depending on how you say it, and pineapple is perfectly fine. No, I reject your analogy. No,
it's an affront to nature.
Your face is an affront to nature. Pineapple pizza is perfectly acceptable. And here's the thing. I think you secretly really like it. And you're doing this to make yourself look cool to those people who are like, yeah, it's terrible. No, it's not. It's amazing. And you damn well know it.
Why don't you just put pineapple on it? Just like whatever then. Why don't you put pineapple in your spaghetti? Why don't you put pineapple on your lasagna?
Okay, no.
Just put pineapple on random stuff.
You can't just put it on random stuff. It's gotta. It
doesn't belong on pizza.
Thank you.
Why?
Yes, right here, Amy. Oh no, I hit the wrong one because the thing was.
See,
I'm just
Glenn
saying.
gets it. Unclean, like in Leviticus.
I will say this, Jason. If I do have pineapple on my pizza, the pineapple has to be really cooked and the ham has to be crispy.
Yes, no, I agree. I
For
agree.
it to work.
Yeah, it needs to be. Hold on, real quick. Maggie is completely correct. Pineapple and sweet and sour stir fry. Pineapple's put in all kinds of things. That's amazing.
Oh, yes.
And real quick, hold on. Wink at me. Pineapple, no fruit on pizza. What do you think a tomato is? It's a fruit. So then you'd have to get rid of the sauce. Are we going to go that far? No, we're not.
Are you one of those people that gets like all like, cucumber's not really a fruit, right?
No.
Do you always point that out?
God, don't talk about cucumbers. I had to replace 3 of them. And I can't even get to them because I can't walk over there.
Oh, no.
It's another story.
Okay, hold on. You grow cucumbers in your garden?
I grow everything. Yes, I grow tomatoes, cucumbers, jalapenos, habaneros, green, red, yellow peppers, and the other one that I like, the Mexicano, the cilantro. Yeah.
All right.
A lot of
Cool.
stuff.
I didn't know.
Because I also make salsa. Oh, you know that. We're supposed to have that salsa. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do that. Real quick, hold on.
Okay.
I love anchovies on pizza. The trick is getting good anchovies. I'm just saying, most people who are like, no, I don't want anchovies. You've never even had an anchovy on your pizza. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they don't like it because it sounds gross, even though most people never tried it.
It is buttery and salty. It's amazing. I love it. Now the problem is you can't even find them half the time on place. So you do have to get the right anchovies. I get my anchovy pizzas from a very specific restaurant in Cedar Hill, where it is it's owned by an actual New York Italian family, and their anchovies are delivered by gentlemen with suits and white ties and suspiciously loud trunks. Just saying. That's how you get the right anchovies.
Sometimes I meet people who are like, ew, sushi? That's raw fish. That's gross. I'm like, yo, you never tried sushi before, really? People
Sushi's
are like,
amazing.
I would never try it because it's raw fish. Who would eat that? I'm like, you've never tried sushi? Come on, man.
Yep.
So there was this one point where I knew this guy who was a coworker of mine at a sales job years back. And he was, let's just say, like a very, a good old boy American, right? And he was like that. He was like, ew, raw fish. And we're coworkers, we're partners.
Oh, yeah.
So one day for lunch, I was like, it was my turn to pick. And I was like, let's go to the sushi restaurant. And he was like, ew, I can't eat that. And I was like, dude, it's good. You haven't even tried it. And he's like, no. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, what are you, racist? And then I should have until like going. And then he tried it for the very first time. He was all like real weirded out by it, He couldn't even use the chopsticks. I was like, dude, just use a spoon. It's all good, man. And he took the first bite and it like blew his mind and it like flipped his whole world upside down.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe I like this. And then he wanted to go like every day.
Yeah.
And try out like every piece. And he was just obsessed with sushi. And then it was a fun transformation to see.
Yes. I will say this. I'm a huge fan of sushi. I hate California rolls.
Oh, I can't stand them. That ain't sushi.
That's not sushi.
No.
I'm traditional. I want the fish. I want the rice. I like it when they have like the salmon on top, right? Like those. I forget what that's called specifically, but I want the seaweed wrap. I want the fish in the middle. That's all I want. I do not like. Don't give me all this other stuff in there. That's all I'm saying.
No,
You like California rolls, don't you, Donnie?
No. I mean,
okay, good.
No. I don't dislike them. It's not like they're bad in my mouth or anything, but we don't count that as sushi in our.
That's because it's not sushi. It's an avocado, and avocado. I don't like avocados.
No.
I like the raw tuna or salmon with the natural wasabi. Not the stuff you buy at the store, the actual that you get at the Japanese.
So Maggie, I am one of those dudes who will judge you if we're out at an Asian restaurant and you can't use chopsticks and you ask for forks. I mean, I'll be like, yeah, get this person a fork, but just know in the back of my head, yeah, I'm judging you. Oh, you being judged.
Yeah, I don't think lobster. Yeah, Amy, I love lobster. I actually like crab legs the best, but I wouldn't call lobster sushi, right? Unless you just eat it raw. Well, how would you
I don't think
classify that?
No, there is lobster sushi.
Yeah.
Because not all sushi has to be raw.
That's
Okay.
true.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite pieces is actually cooked. It's the eel.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite. And that's cooked. Yeah.
Now it's not a sushi, but actually one of my favorite things is octopus, cooked octopus.
Oof, I like that too, man. I love it.
Can I tell you a messed up ocean story, guys? That
Please
I saw
do.
in Korea.
And bring it somewhere back to anywhere near.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll tell you a messed up. Okay. Here's a cool ocean story for you guys. So I was in this place called Haeundae in Korea with my girlfriend at the time, and we were kind of taking a leisurely stroll down the beach, right? It was early in the morning, so there weren't that many people. And the only other group of people we saw was this elderly couple, probably about 60 feet ahead of us, just strolling down just the beach. And we notice, and we're behind them, and we notice the old lady. She acts all surprised, gets the attention of her husband, and she's like, "Look, look, look!" They look down, and there's an octopus in the sand, right?
Okay.
So they look real happy. So so one of them takes out a pair of chopsticks that they had in their pocket. I was like, who is carrying a pair of chopsticks in their pocket? Number one. And then they take the octopus and they wash it off with the salt water, and then they wrap it around their chopsticks like it's like cotton candy. And then they just start happily strolling down the beach, and they're just chomping on this thing like it's cotton candy. Oh. And then me and my girlfriend at the time were like, oh, because she was like American too, and we're like, oh my god,
no,
it was one of the gnarliest things I'd ever seen in my life. Man. And they looked so happy, and this thing was alive.
No,
live octopus.
Alive. Okay, so that's where that crosses the line for me. I don't care what it is, you kill it, then you eat it. Like if you want to eat it, if you want to eat something raw, look, that's between you and God. There's certain things you can't, like certain fish you can eat raw. By the way, real quick, we'll come back to your point. Behind says never eat raw lobster. No, never eat any crustacean. No crustacean should ever be eaten raw.
What about a crawdad?
No, it's a crustacean.
They do in Louisiana.
No, they don't.
Don't they grab them live and suck them right out the rear end?
No,
that juice out?
No, you boil them. No
one
would do that. Yes, anyone who does that is insane. Anyway, back to your story. I'm just saying, you kill it, then you eat it. That's the rule.
No, I mean live octopus is it's a delicacy there. Live octopus dipped in soy sauce. Because they like the feeling of it moving it around in your mouth when you're chewing on it. I don't know. People like it, I guess, for some reason. I don't know.
No.
Okay, radio. Radio says they boil them. Okay, I didn't know that, Radio Vault, but yeah, I saw it on some program. Sorry, Donnie.
I just said this. What we do. I just said it.
Yeah, well, you know the medications are kicking in, but yeah, I do want to have to say something about chopsticks, Donnie, because I am very fluent, and that's not even the right verbiage. I know.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I was a kid growing up. My dad loved Chinese food. In fact, growing up, he'd always take me and my brother to the Chinese restaurant for New Year's Eve. That was my mom and dad's thing, and he loved it. So, of course, as kids, my mom and dad used chopsticks, and me and my brother would use, forks or whatever. So, I can't remember. So I'm maybe 10 or 11. And he goes, "Now you want to learn how to use a chopstick?" I go, "Yeah, Dad, I would. I'd like to learn that." He gave me the chopsticks, and he had a rock bed along the driveway by the wood fence. He goes, "Take these and see all the weeds that are sticking out from between the rocks. Take them out with the chopsticks." I'm like, "What?" "Yeah. You'll get good dexterity. You'll gain the strength." I said, "Dad, they're hard to pull out." So yeah, I did. I learned how to do it, pulling weeds with chopsticks. And I'm don't know what was behind that. That's how he taught me how to do them. And it's very easy to teach someone how to use. But why he had me do that? I think he wanted the weed bed clean.
That's what I was about to say.
Strand by strand. So I said, Dad, I know how to use the chopsticks now. Get some weed killer.
Okay, real quick. The Radio Vault asks if octopi and not octopuses. I don't care what anybody says. It's octopi. You say octopuses. We are not friends. But he asks if they have claws. No, they have beaks. In the middle, they have beaks. They are razor sharp beaks. So I don't know how you do that if you're going to eat the thing alive. I thought
it was like giant squid that had like the little claws and like the little pods and the sucker pods or whatever.
Yes, yeah. Some squids do have like a little thing in the suction, but they all have beaks.
Yeah.
Yep. Ugh, no, eating something alive that's a no for me. I don't care if it's it's a delicacy. Screw you. The French, by the way, the French have a thing where you eat like a raw. No, it's not raw. It's a living bird. It's like a little bird, and they eat them. I'm like, no. Eat you. If you're gonna eat something, have the decency to kill it first. That's all I'm saying. That's my only thing. Like eating something alive, I'm not down for that at all. No. That's all I'm saying.
Although I have eaten something live before.
Isn't oysters all alive when you eat it, right?
Not the ones I've eaten. I've swallowed. We used to go to the pet shop. You stick our hands in the goldfish bowl, aquarium, and drop them down our mouth. Yeah. It was a dare. We all did it. Yeah.
Oh.
So yes, I did that.
Nope.
Never do it again.
Nope. Yeah, I think we have a moral obligation. If we're going to eat something, kill it as humanely as possible. And then again, if you certain fish you can eat raw, that's fine. That's up to you. I prefer things cooked. Even most sushis are not technically raw. They're actually the rice. If it's done probably the rice actually.
But it's dead.
Yeah, but it's dead. I'm just saying it's got to be dead first.
Yeah.
You know what I do? One of my favorite things is I just never have it. Fried scallops.
I love them sauteed, but I love scallops either way. But man, sauteed I love them.
Yeah, scallops. Those are the bomb.
Oh boy. Now you got me thinking, Jason. I'm
My
thinking about boiling a whole bunch of crab legs now. We have a great fish market about a mile from me. Of course, I can't drive. But yes, I love me some late at night. We take a big vat, put it over the fire, big iron one, and water, about 10 pounds of crab legs, or we all pitch in $50 a piece once a year. And we just boil them and sit there and eat them and drink Old Milwaukee's Best because that's what they used to advertise on the commercial. Marketing geniuses. Yep. Old Milwaukee's and crab legs over an open vat on open fire. We copied that. Yeah. We've been doing that for the last 5 years, actually.
So, Rob, just out of curiosity, where are these crab legs? These crab legs are like from like Lake Michigan?
No, they're from the ocean, but I have a fresh seafood joint not far from me where I can buy whatever I want. And there's fresh crab there. Yeah. We also have a place called Eastern Market, which is in downtown Detroit, which has fabulous steaks, chicken, ribs, whatever you want. You go there, you get it fresh. And then there's a seafood joint off the river, Detroit River. But no, it's not. Nothing's from the river. It just happens to be there. Because they'll also do perch, walleye, and a few other things that are imported or caught at the actual river. So it's a pretty cool place. Just plug your nose when you walk in, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Real quick, Titan says frog legs are delicious. They are. I will say,
yes,
They're great. I love frog legs. It just the amount of, but again, it's just the amount of meat that you get off of them. I'm like, they don't taste enough. Let me phrase this: they don't taste different enough from chicken to make it worth the cost and the time. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna have frog legs, I might as well just have a chicken tender. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, or you need 1,000 of them. Yeah, I love frog legs too, though, Jason. Sauteed in butter. Oh,
yep. Doris Downs mentioned that she didn't like stuffed mushrooms until she figured out it was snails. I like snail. Well, okay, so let me rephrase this. Be very careful with this. The thing about snails is they have no flavor. And so you dip them in garlic butter. And so this is my defense. I would eat anything dipped in garlic butter.
Yeah.
I'd eat my own head dipped in garlic butter. I'm just saying. So again, it goes back to snails are good. But it's dipped in garlic butter. It's just a vehicle for the garlic butter. That's all it is.
This reminds me, gentlemen, something happened to me that was pretty significant last weekend. I forgot to tell you. I forgot to bring it up.
Okay.
I had, for the very first time in my life ever, biscuits and gravy.
Really?
Never had biscuits and gravy ever in my life until this past
I'm
weekend.
going to reposition myself because I want to gird my loins for the story.
Biscuits and gravy is like,
wow.
It's just, and it was my first time having that breakfast white gravy, because before that, I always understood gravy to be like brown.
Right.
And I was like, this gravy is white. You know, it was my first time ever seeing it even and tasting it.
Really?
I thought it was pretty interesting.
Wow.
I do find it's odd how you take this chunk of bread and you just soak it in gravy and then it just kind of absorbs the whole thing.
It's not quite a chunk of bread, Donnie. It is it's a flaky biscuit. Yeah.
Now, did you actually have sausage gravy or was it just gravy?
I think it was a sausage. It was white.
Right. Yeah. So it's white, but did it have chunks of, did it have sausage in it?
Yeah,
okay. That's a sausage gravy. Yeah. Because there's white gravy, which is, again, it's not, okay. So here's the thing. It's not really gravy the way you think of gravy, but it is a gravy. But yeah, if you got sausage, I mean, I get it. I can see that if you're not familiar with it, I can see it maybe not being your favorite thing.
It was okay. It wasn't bad.
I get it.
It was all right.
Hold on, Maggie. Hold on. Maggie M10, are you British by chance? Because she asked if we could define a biscuit, because she's sort of, it's not what you think a biscuit is. Are you British by chance? Yep, that's okay. So she answered it without answering it. She says it's something to dip in a cup of tea with chocolate on it. Yes. Okay. So she responded, yes. So as soon as I saw your thing about in tea, I'm like, yep, you're British. Okay. When an American says biscuit, we did this with Danielle when I was on Daniela's show on Sundays. We did this all the time where so a biscuit in America is like a savory buttery pastry. It's they're round. Hold on, I'm gonna find a picture. Donnie, can you describe a biscuit?
Yeah, no, it's not bread, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on breads.
Yeah, it's
unfortunately.
It's really hard to explain. Yeah, it's not bread, but it's certainly made of flour.
Well, I mean, it is a bread. It's
a bread. Yeah, I don't classify it as bread.
What would be a European equivalent of that?
I don't think there are.
Oh, let me ask. What would the crumpets? What's crumpets in tea? Crumpet is something totally different.
I'd say a croissant,
but heartier.
Yeah, but what if you dipped a croissant in that same gravy? I'm pretty sure it would be pretty good.
I think it would be great, but it would fall apart. I think the problem is the biscuit's more actually the
more
hold on, I got a picture right here. Yeah. I mean the croissant is not a bad analogy. It's just it's heartier. It's like, imagine a round croissant, but like thicker and heartier. That's actually not a bad analogy at all.
Those look pretty good, actually.
Yeah. And country gravy. Country gravy.
Man, we're making everyone in chat hungry right now.
Dude, I'm hungry. And I just realized we crossed it. We crossed it. Maggie says it's a scone. It is different from a scone. I've had a scone. It is different from a scone, but yeah, they're not sweet. They are savory. They're buttery.
Okay,
They're really well done.
Can I share with you guys the one American food that I personally think is kind of stupid?
Okay.
I'm about to get a lot of make a lot of people
the pizza
very angry right now. I think grilled cheese sandwiches are kind of dumb.
Oh, Donnie.
We don't need that kind of negativity on this show as we come to an end. Because it's the end of the show. And we love all of you except Donnie. Not Donnie. Not anymore. No, never again. But be here. We'll be live again, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. in the East next week, where we have an actual topic to discuss. And awesome. This Saturday it'll be the first standalone show. So we'll see y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Be good.
Yeah.